Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
The second half of the afternoon talk show. Christopher Bongo is my guest. He's the man in the spotlight for the next 45 minutes before we get to Radio VUCA. So what's the one question you've always wanted to ask Christopher Bongo that you haven't had a chance to ask? Well, here's your chance. Somebody's saying, actually, what's his Twitter handle? So your handle is CL Bongo. Have I got it right?
Yes.
Okay. CL Bongo. That'll get you Christopher Bongo. My handle, if you're really interested, I should have got the one. You can tweet to both of us. Love to chat to you for the next 45 minutes. So to call in, 0891104207. SMS is 34701. That's going to cost you £2. And, of course, you can comment on my Facebook page as well. So, Christopher, good of you to come in. Thanks for allowing us to put you in the spotlight.
Thank you. It is a pleasure being here.
Now, you know what's interesting about you? We'll talk about Stephen Pienaar just now, but we know you're the soccer guy, but you've also your intro to media was with what, Channel O in this country, is that right? And you were a model as well.
Yes. Wow.
Let's talk about the modeling.
Many things. Maybe to start from the beginning, which
is what? What are you doing in this country?
Yes, it might help a lot of people. That's a very good question. And I think the obvious one is when you hear the accent, you go straight away, wow, where is he from and everything. Well, I arrived in South Africa in 1990, December 17th, 1990, directly from Lusaka, Zambia, where my father was in a diplomatic position there. And I came here to finish the second level of my engineering degree, chemical engineer. And from there on, things has changed many times, and you keep going on with it. So yes, so the beginning it was all about study, and
but are you Zambian? You're not Zambian.
No. I'm Congolese. Right. My father was an ambassador in Zambia.
Okay.
And I came from a university in Congo. It closed at the end of the year, and there had some troubles. I couldn't start the next year. I just finished my first level of engineering. So the next destination was very simple. The next destination was Canada. But
really? Okay.
Yes, but on the way going to Canada, we passed through South Africa in '89 in a holiday. And people who made us tour South Africa, they made us tour Wits University. So we took some forms, and we went back with it, myself and my brother, and we filled up the form, and we sent the form with no idea what's going to happen. Remember, South Africa is an English-speaking country, and I only spoke French. So you have no idea that they will even consider you. So with a big surprise, in September '89, we received the confirmation that we have been accepted at Wits University.
Okay. Well.
And because the cost of studying at Wits University then, it was zillion times less than going to Canada, and South Africa was so close to...
Compared to distance across the Atlantic, indeed.
And the position that my father was occupying in Zambia as an ambassador was looking after all the southern African countries, Botswana, Malawi. So it was easier for us to be in South Africa. So that's how I found myself in South Africa.
So did you say '89?
'89, yes.
So it's interesting because you then are very much a part of the new South Africa. Meaning,
oh yes,
you came here at a time when this country was changing rapidly.
'89, it was holiday. We passed it through on a holiday, and through a real apartheid South Africa. Very surprised to see how people are living here because you've never been exposed to that. People should understand most Africans are exposed to apartheid is one name, Winnie Mandela. It's not even Nelson Mandela. It is Winnie Mandela. So apartheid for us, it was something you studied at school. So in '89, we did not leave it because we were on holiday, everything was fine. We had the diplomatic passport, everything was taken very, very well. In '89, when you start living here, and there's some event that happened during that period, you start realizing, okay, we are living in a different country.
Okay, so thank goodness you... So Canada's loss is South Africa's gain.
Africa.
Or Africa's gain is the point you make. What occupies your time now? What do you do? You do 3-4 things, I know, so maybe just rattle them all off.
We're talking about now.
Soccer analyst.
I think the first thing that occupied me is being a husband and father, and that is like the major part of your life. Because Ashraf, as a father now, you have to go back to school because you do homework.
Of course.
We're not the old fathers where she does everything. So you actually do all those stuff. So it is picking up the kid from school, and when you drop them at home and you realize nothing is being made for lunch, and then you find yourself.
So what grade are you on now? What grade are you in?
I'm in 2 grade.
You're in grade 2.
I am in grade 6 and grade 1. So
studying 2 grades at one shot. That's Christopher Bongo, the parent.
Indeed, Yes, and then. Work-wise, because you have to keep your life going on and pay some bills, I am a SABC football analyst, and then I am a FIFA marketing instructor for the moment, looking around for the continent. And of course, I am a marketing consultant. I run my own company called Caribou Media.
Okay, so there you are, busy man indeed. Let's get to the callers. I did say, I always tell you this, if you want to say hi to my guest, in this case Christopher Bongo, do so now. Anybody can call, and you can pick up any current issue that affects you or him right now. But also, if you know him personally, you want to say hi to a friend or a family member or colleague, that's absolutely fantastic. Or your dad. I mean, this is a challenge to you. You never know. You need to get the headphones on. 0891 104 207. Let's start in Midrand. Andrew on the line. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Ashraf. How are you?
I'm very good indeed. Yeah, thanks for calling. Go for it.
I've got a lot of respect for Chris. I studied with him at Vets when he came into our class. I think it was 1990 or 91, somewhere around there. The man couldn't speak proper English. We were struggling with the content in English, and he had to struggle with the English as well. But today, when I listen to him on radio, on TV, speaking English, I always look back and marvel and say, this guy came in this country, couldn't speak English, sat next to me in a class, so I know what I'm talking about. But today he speaks very good English. I've got a lot of respect for him.
Wow. Okay. So there you are. You obviously, well, you know Andrew.
Yes, of course. The thing, when I came at Vets, and the people that I studied with in the first year of engineering, you must understand they come from so-called, I didn't know then, Bantu education. They have to go to a bridge school. So I profited with that bridge school. I did not go to bridge school, but what I did get is I got English for Scientists. I got a book called English for Scientists, where you have to learn English.
For Scientists. Okay.
Listen, the reality is when I got at Vets, I couldn't speak. He's very kind. You see, he couldn't speak a good English. I couldn't speak English at all. I had all my engineering book in French. All of them, it was in French. So when I go to a lecture, when we come back, thank God I was not a drinker. So I will go to my room, and I will translate every single thing, chapters, because I used to write chapters in the headlines, translate all of them in French, read them in French, and try to understand in English. So it was quite difficult.
And you passed?
My first year was my best year at Vets University because I was so concentrated in doing so well. And by the way, it was the only year that my father paid for.
The second year you pay yourself?
I paid myself, and because I was playing football, Vets University tipped in, and then I was a waiter. I was doing some kind of jobs here and there. So it was very, very difficult. And when I meet a lot of guys I study with at Vets, and I'm talking about black students, the way they've progressed and the way they're doing things, and when they think they amaze me, I mean, they think I amaze them, I'm more amazed by them because the level of difficulties that we found at Vets, I mean, just a small issue, when people are toying for food, that is us, some people are toying for parking space.
Yes, indeed. So, my goodness. Andrew, you're still there, right?
Yes,
Andrew,
that's very true. Eh?
give me one Christopher Bongo story that you'd love to share with us.
Christopher was a men's race raider, and he knows exactly what I mean by that.
Well, I played for men's race, and you know, at university, at Vets University in our time, because we did not have much to entertain ourselves, football was the major thing. Yeah. And then there is a party that was happening on Friday called Goomba.
Okay.
And so that was very good for brothers who used to drink. So for us, it was football. And there's so many stories for Vets. I got at Vets University, immediately I was picked up to play for Old Council team, which is all white team. And I was called by the friends. They said, listen, you must understand. You are like us. You should not play in that team. You should play for Satisco, which today becomes Satiso, whatever, but then to Satisco. So a lot of brothers, they accepted me, and they took me places like, it's called now what? TNT, University of Northern Transvaal.
Yes.
And we went to in the places, in the townships, and I learned how to eat with my hand and bread and share and without work. So for me, it was a very, very good experience which I learned and living with today.
Okay, lovely indeed. Thanks for that call, Andrew. Appreciate it, right, indeed. So let me just say, Christopher Bongo, what is your favorite team in the PSL?
Okay, that is
From Brian, yeah.
This is the most asked question, and I answer, and people don't believe me. Every week in PSL, I've got different players, not teams. I've got players that impress me. I've got coaches that impress me. So I select team every single week.
But that's after the week is over, not before the game starts.
Because my job, I am an analyst. So a good analyst can only analyze once the event has happened. So once the game is finished, the week is finished, I select my team. So I don't have any specific team, even though...
You do, but you don't want to tell us.
No, I don't. No, I don't have. I feel pain when Vets or Super Sport loses because I pass through there. But for me, they're not. I don't support anything.
Okay, so I mean, we had a question from someone saying, "Does he, talk to me about football? Does Christopher Bongo? Did he ever play football?" So your answer, you played for Vets at what level?
Yeah, well, at Vets I play up to the reserve team and signed a professional contract for the first team.
Right.
And for Super Sport, I played for the first team practically, and I was a teammate of Thomas Madingage today, Bafana assistant coach.
Oh, I see.
I was coached by Terry Payne and Shane McGregor.
And then what happened?
I played with George Kumatakaris. I played with Gardner Siale. They were my teammates.
So what happened to you after that?
You
gave it up?
I didn't give it up. I was young, and playing football for me it was not a struggle. And the people who know, they will tell you it has never been a struggle. I never went to any trials where I was rejected. I never struggled to make to the team. And for me, it was things that I wanted to do at that time. So I was a successful model. I was a good television presenter for Channel O. And for me, football was just too much. I had to travel from Johannesburg to Pretoria every morning. And
to go and train.
Because the SuperSport was one of the teams introduced professionalism very, very early on. We were training twice a day. We were training in the morning 8 to 12 and come back to 2 to 4. And between that, during lunchtime, I have to drive back to Johannesburg to record a Channel O link if I have. Or go and do a quick Edgar's photo shoot and go back to...
So we'll talk about all those things. and that question about the soccer came from... Tabzai. So Christopher Bongo is my guest. He's the man in the spotlight. I'll pick out some more SMSs. 34701. Someone says, please tell him to join Kaizer Chiefs as a technical advisor from Sipiwe. You should join Chiefs as a technical advisor. They're top of the log. How much are you going to help them do better than that?
Chiefs are on top of the log. They're doing well. They've got incredible technical team. People that you always respect. I remember it was at the Rand Stadium, and one of the things that I remember, the defender was the late Sizum Town, and that's why I got shocked that he had such a small voice. He said, "How are you doing, man?" And then I look at this big man, and the coach Terry Payne called me and he said, "Listen, we are 1-0 up, and we are fighting relegation all the time, SuperSport." So he said, "We're 1-0 up. You are going in not as a striker, you're going in the middle of the park to mark Dr. Kumalo." So I warmed up, I got in, and all Doctor had to do 5 meters is to move his body, and I was taken very far. So that is to respond that the Kaizer Chief got enough technical director, very, very
That's
solid.
why you're stuck with modeling. You're sort of doing the different sort of moves instead of doing the moves on the football pitch. Right, Stephen Pienaar, tell me about him. He's retired now officially, I believe.
Yes, that's what we had.
An hour or two ago.
Well,
from Bafana. Still will play for Everton, of course.
This is the second player to retire from Bafana in a period of 6 months. And thank God one of them come back, which is Monip Joseph. But Stephen Pienaar, if the retirement sticks, he will go in the history as nobody for the national team. Because during his time in Bafana, we have won nothing. We have achieved nothing. Unfortunately, the feeling is most players, they wanted to be in the national team just for them to experience the World Cup in their own country as players, like I would have done.
Why do you think he would retire now? Meaning that you're right, he's the captain. but he's hardly, he's captained a few games, not much. But the World Cup is gone, but the Nations Cup comes up. A host team.
It is a sad story. Whichever way you look at it, it's a sad story. Why I'm saying a sad story? Because he is a good player. I don't know his leadership quality. I've never been in the same room as him or experienced his leadership quality. He is a good player. He's a good tactician. And you wish to see a talent like that stay in the national team. However, and like I say to many people, even my Facebook, South Africa is not short of talent. It's only short of people looking at those talents. And as Steven Pienaar is retiring from the international, Gordon Eagleson brings in the most exciting player, according to me, Lebese from Chiefs, in the side. So for me, I think as a young player like Lebese can come in and say, listen, I want to prove who I am. You have Serrero moving up very, very well. You have Rancy scoring goals coming in. So
you think there's no loss? Because I asked the question whether...
The loss is we lose an experience and a quality player, but it's not a loss because there is a big void. No, it should be... Listen, South Africa got 50 million people. Out of those 50 million people, I can bet you we have minimum 5 million players.
But do we have... How many Steven Pienaars have we got?
No player can be replaced like by like. We lose so many people, even with death, and we say we'll never replace those people. You will never replace an individual because he has all the quality that belong to him. But in football, football will move on, and South Africa can only be better. It is said, if people can actually dwell on this issue, that Steven Pienaar has left the national team and then we are a country in crisis. We should not.
Okay, because I was suggesting that maybe Gordon Ingerson's target should be revised now. They said semi-finals now, they should give him a chance because there's no Steven Pienaar. You think that's not fair? Okay,
let's try to put a bad hat here. I'm trying not to be politically correct. What Steven Pienaar has won for South Africa?
Okay, you already said he's won nothing.
Not even a qualification.
Okay. Some questions. CS saying, ask Chris, why is the AFCON Cup played every 2 years instead of 4? If he was CAF president, would he do it differently? Okay. Sammy saying, so Bongo's father worked for Mobutu Sese Seko's administration, complicit in the wholesale plunder of the then Zaire. You may want to answer that question.
I can answer both of them. First of all, let's start with the AFCON. Why the AFCON played 4 years? Number one, I won't be able to be a CAF president because I am not a member of a CAF executive. The law has changed. So I won't have that chance. And the reason CAF has given that African Nation Cup is played 4 years is because if you do it for 2 years only, I mean every 2 years.
2 years, not 4, yeah.
Most football associations in the continent, they are so poor that they're going to die out. Because the only source of revenue of those football associations get is through the international game that they do play. So if you wait for 4 years for you to have a qualifier to play in a meaningful games, those football associations won't exist. So for you to balance, you need to play every single 2 years.
Does it help the national teams, or do they play too much football and their players like Pienaars get called up too often for their country?
It does help the national association. National players, I don't know. For the moment, CAF even introduced the local, which is CHAN, the local African Cup of Nations, which is only played. People must understand the dynamic because people keep on comparing Africa with Europe all the time. If you look at the level of involvement of corporate in Europe into football, is not the same level as a corporate in Africa to football. Because the dynamics of problems that we do have in the continent, because I do travel the continent for football, you found bigger problem where, first of all, you don't have enough schools, or you don't have enough hospitals, or you don't even have some water, and then you have now to put some kind of a government budget to football. So in Europe, they don't take a government budget to football.
It's self-sustainable.
It is corporate.
Okay, let's move on to other things.
But the second one, you asked me about my father.
About your dad, yeah.
Of course, they're the generation that actually destroyed the continent. It's not only Mobutu's government. It is many African governments since 1960 when we got independent. There is no government actually in Africa can put his hand up and say, we have done so well. No. So yes, that generation of leaders, they are going. That way it becomes so important. Education for us, the young generation that are coming through, to start understanding the continent and leadership in different ways.
And he asked the question whether your dad then is complicit in basically messing up Zaire and plundering it. That's what
the fact he did not resign, the fact he did not resign in his position in the government, you can only say that yes, he was part of that. So it is in its own prerogative. When you see the direction of the government, if you don't agree with the direction of the government, you should not be part of it. It's the same for us here when we go to vote. If you don't believe the direction of the government is going wrong, you vote differently. Unfortunately, in Zaire that time, they did not even have an election.
Okay. I want to certainly ask you about things like your FIFA marketing
Yes.
and your work at Sky during the World Cup, which is quite fascinating. Muzi in KwaZulu-Natal, hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, how's it, Muzi?
Yeah, I'm just listening to your guest, and it's quite interesting to what he's talking about. But I cannot hold myself to comment on what he's saying. That the destruction in Africa was after the Mobutus in 1960s and all that. I think that is very wrong. You cannot run away from the fact that the colonists made a lot of destruction, did a lot of destruction in Africa before Mobutus. Even Mobutus, they were working hand in hand with those colonists. I don't blame only them. So in simple terms, I'm saying let us not all the time where there is a European involved and we say the Europeans are fine, we insinuate that they are fine and only Africans that are wrong.
Okay, let's ask him that. Thanks for that, Muzi. Did you imply that Europeans are fine with regard to Africa? I don't think you said that.
No. The question was specific. Was your father part of Mobutu's government that destroyed the Congo or Zaire at the time? That time, and the reality is this: if Zaire was so fine by that time, even when my father was an ambassador, there is a little chance I could have found myself in South Africa.
Of course.
So I found myself in South Africa to go and better my education. I did not come here as an economical migration. I came here to study. Why would I leave a country with such a vast resources as Congo or Zaire at that time for me to come to an apartheid South Africa to study? Is because we did not have those facilities
Of course,
in Congo.
indeed.
So, was he part of that government? Yes. If the country was destroyed, I'm not saying Mobutu is the source of destruction of Congo. The history is very long. We don't have time to go through all that. The question was very specific. Yes, it was part of Mobutu's government.
Okay, some of the Oscar's saying via Facebook, wow, I've never heard of an honest man like Christopher. Wow, my man, he don't sugarcoat the truth. Okay, and Peter from Pretoria is saying, what happened to his engineering career, which I think is an interesting question. Yeah.
In 1994, after the election, I'm doing my third year at West University. I was called to go to Senate House, which is West University. And before you do your fourth year, you have to do vacation work, which means you have to do some practical. And my practical was very simple, the distillation or the usage of a sulfuric acid. Because I was paying my university by myself, I was not sponsored. I was paying university by myself, and VET was paying part because of my my playing. With them being the player registered, they are paying part of my tuition. I needed to find where to work. VET then found me a mining company in Rustenburg.
Not Maracana, just checking.
I don't remember what it was. And the letter that came, this is what the letter said. They are willing to accept me on my own risk because they are not prepared to work with a black student. So I could have not gone to Sasol or ING then or any company. I could have not gone back to Congo because it was already a civil war in Congo for me to do my practical work and come back. So I found myself between a very bad situation where I cannot complete my engineering degree unless I do work, or I can go to Rustenburg to do my work in a place where I am welcome partially, but not fully. So,
all right, there you are. Lots of conundrum.
I end up going to UNISA. I finished in chemistry and mathematics, which I become a tutorial. I start teaching mathematics and chemistry for living, And then, of course, the modeling just took very well. And then, of course, I went to IMM and all the stuff. Yes.
Okay, I wonder why they chose you as a model, some may say. But
I was too
judging
dark.
from the amount of
I was
people
very,
speaking on the outside.
They were
no
not used to see dark people,
All
so I
right.
was
Don't
very
answer
dark.
that question. We'll talk more with Christopher Bongo in a second. Let's get to another capital C, which is Christopher Bongo, who's my guest in the spotlight. Christopher, I'm going to get to some of the other callers too. So tell me one thing about you that we don't know that you'd love to share with us.
Wow. Well, I wanted to say that when I came in South Africa, I couldn't speak English. So I know most people, they don't know that. And in my family, in my birth family, I am the only one living in Africa.
Really? Wow.
At present.
And the rest are living where?
Sweden, United States,
not in
Belgium,
Africa.
France. In Africa.
Okay. Your work with FIFA, what do you do there?
I am one of the marketing instructor. And the question is, what is a marketing instructor for FIFA? FIFA wants most football association who are member associate to FIFA to become professional. So they have to become professional at every single level, including selling themselves, selling the game. Football does not sell itself. You need to sell the game. When I was introduced to FIFA by Emi Kasseleti, and I managed to go there, what I have found out is when you have 100 kids playing football, only 2 of them will become professional. So what happened to the 98? So then I introduced something which is very, very good that I'm doing all the time, is how individuals can market themselves within football. So you don't have to become professional playing football in the field, but you can become professional in football if you know what you can give.
So a soccer commentator is a professional in football.
That is one of them. In South Africa, for instance, people don't understand. Kit manager, it is a good professional in a big association around the world, because a kit manager will decide which type of a kit a team is going to use, what type of a design they should have. That's a kit manager. A masseur who have some lessons about anatomy to understand which kind of pressure you should put in specific players.
Okay, so that's part of your job. Well, the marketing aspect, to get people to understand that. Yeah.
That is one part of them. One part of them is to make people understand they can do a lot in football. But the job I'm doing now, which is a tough job, Ashraf, is to fix African women football. Women football in Africa is not yet become a individual product. It is a sub-product in Football Association. Okay, we have Bafana, and then we can look after Banyana. No. Women football must become a product of its own within a football association. So they should know how to become a product, a brand, how to sell themselves.
I'm happy to say my daughter plays football and absolutely loves the game.
So that's what
your challenge is to make sure she plays regularly. Let's get to the callers again. Tokozani in Uppington High.
Hi, Ashraf.
How's
How
it,
are
man?
you?
Good, thank you.
I am good. Habari ya siku mzee?
Mzuri sana baba, habari yako?
Unalamuka. Okay. Ashraf, I am like, it is interesting, you know. I am in Uppington. I am working in the Defense Force. I visit or I work that site by 2009, 10, 11. That guy is like, amazing. But I would like to ask him if he is going to give back to the other community now, the people of the DRC, because there's a lot that needs to be done, and especially by educated people, because there is a lot of stories. I don't want to go further, but I am very impressed. He's doing good. Thanks.
Okay, lovely indeed. Thanks for that call, Tokozani. Just response to that?
I am available for the continent. I'm not only available for Congolese community. I'm very blessed. I can speak English and I do speak French. And of course, I speak some African languages, including Lingala and a bit of Swahili. I just got back from Kigali, which is an African country. People don't know a big work myself and Emi Kaslet we did in Ethiopia. So when Ethiopia came here and they actually play against South Africa, we were not shocked the way they are playing, because we took their football from almost zero to what it is now. So in Africa, I'm available everywhere. I'm going to Zambia very, very soon. I was in Kenya. So I am available. I am available on Twitter. I'm available on Facebook. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, I am not anywhere. I'm not difficult. You get in touch with me, present the product, let's work together, and that is it. So I am available for anything.
Okay, so well, there you are. Good challenge. Now, some of the just further comments. Hey, Bongo, Ike Kumalo here. You remember him?
Oh,
Ike Kumalo.
Yes, Ike Kumalo. We work together as models.
Yeah, he said, thank you and Paul Pume for helping me find my way during our modeling days. From Ike in Soweto. Another one, his father was part of that government, and so what? Is he his father? Was he not a good footballer? What must happen to him now? From Matume in Polokwane. Bizarre Niceness saying, Chris is not his father. Let us talk football. Hi, boy, you can't represent your father, Chris, which I think is interesting. But let's just talk then about your work, because in terms of emceeing,
Yeah.
considering you know English and French and you know the African continent, if I told you to mention 10 functions that you've emceed, I can tell you they're amongst the most glittering, most important that's ever been done on the African continent.
But I still want to MC in South Africa, which is...
But you don't do it here. Not at that level.
I am so South African, and there is a small... I'll talk about the MC. There is a small thing, a joke. I was in Cote d'Ivoire in Abidjan, and I went to one of the top restaurants, because when you work for FIFA, often people take you to very, very good places. And then I asked for a red wine. And then they brought me a French wine. I said, no, I want a good South African wine. And they say, we don't stock South African wine. I said, okay, give me water. So that's how South African I am.
Yeah.
Like you say, I have done event for IOC.
Just mention them, yeah.
The announcement of Winter Olympic City. I've done it twice. I've done Africa Cup. I've done CAF Awards. In 3 occasions.
The actual individual CAF Awards, yeah.
Individual CAF Awards in 3 different countries. I've done some dinners for FIFA, including the presidential journalists. I have done FIFA Fan Fest. I was the official MC for every city that they went. Those are the things that I do. And what's amazing about them, I do them because I'm South African.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, because there is a kind
they wanted a South African.
There is a kind of a oomph when you're a South African and you speak French.
Yes, indeed.
There is a good note in that. Man, I am still have to do a top level, a South African event because I am South African.
And you think you're not doing it because what? You've got this funny accent and you're from the DRC?
No. Contrary to what a lot of people think, I think when people sit in the boardroom and thinking about events, they don't even care where you come from. They just feel about the audience you're going to talk to and if they're going to respond to you. Sometimes, most people who make those decisions, sometimes they don't know much. They go with people tested already, they worked with before, and yes.
Okay. Just so quick ones, your thoughts on if you had lunch with President Zuma, what would you raise? What would you put on the agenda?
Well, I have to move back and to go because there are so many things that's happening. My bigger one is because I am a father and of my children still at school. My bigger one was, can you explain what happened about the textbook story?
Okay,
yeah.
That's the one. You finish the sentence. I love it when South Africans do what?
Excel.
And you don't like it when they do what?
Blame themselves.
Do you think we blame ourselves too often?
Sometimes. But very, very short. My wish would be for every South African, if you have a chance, go to the Apartheid Museum. I'll tell you why. You'll find out what South African can do. Nothing can stop this nation. South Africa came so close to a distraction. Spent 2 hours in Apartheid Museum. Read and listen to the story of South African. And see where the nation is today. And you will realize people decided this country should go forward.
Indeed.
So it is...
And
South Africa has done what is impossible.
And for those who don't know, I think just the one thing of the Apartheid Museum is you enter, you'll decide very quickly that you're in Apartheid South Africa because you've got a white door and a black door, and you know those are the decisions you had to make before. Right, a couple of more things. I mean, you're a soccer commentator besides all the other things you mentioned.
Analyst.
Modeling. Analyst, okay, not commentator.
Yes.
Who do you rate in your field?
As an analyst?
Yeah.
Well, there are quite few. For the SABC, I work with a group of people who are very, very solid in what they do. Max Maponyani is one of them. If you just understand exactly where it's coming from, how he jokes around his analysis, it is incredible. And you have Muzimase, and there is a guy that we don't see eye to eye often, but I think he's a great analyst because his passion is David Kekana.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got about 30 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Give me a book you'd recommend we all read.
The Destruction of African Civilization.
The Destruction of African Civilization.
Yeah.
We must read that. And give me a quote that we can all take home.
Once you know yourself, nothing can stop you.
Once you know yourself. Best day in your life? Professionally, that is?
Best day
Yeah.
in my life. Being in the podium, analyzing the World Cup, first game, France versus Uruguay.
But not for South Africa.
I wasn't in that game.
Yeah, I understand that. Christopher, it's been great chatting to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for allowing us to put you in the spotlight.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
hopefully people have learned. Christopher's taken some pictures. We've taken pictures. You can check it out on Facebook as well as on Twitter pretty shortly indeed. Time now for Radio VUCA. 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 Time now for